we have to move on.
I do think that there's an argument to be made that if you are like, we should not have 6 and 12 teams in your conference in the NCAA.
Well, you're going to in the SEC.
If you expand, there needs to be some kind of rule where you get more A10 teams in, you get more Mountain West teams in, you get more teams that win games.
The people that wanted to expand aren't the ones from those conferences, which is ironic to begin with. Let's move on here. Stay in the SEC, where there were other games happening. I want you to talk for a moment about the job that Mark Byington has done, because Vanderbilt beat Ole Miss. Vanderbilt really needing this win. They are 18-9. They've stacked together quality wins. They've been really tough at home. And in this victory, Jason Edwards had 15 points. Chris Mannon gave them 16 points as well. They've got balanced scoring. They can shoot the three. Vandy, under Mark Byington, first-year coaches across the country. Where's the job he's done?
Man, well coached. I mean, I remember seeing him in Charleston. I was like, the talent's okay, right? I mean, you got A.J. Hogard, Tyler Nickel, a bunch of guys that frankly, a lot of programs didn't really care if they left and transferred elsewhere. And Byington takes over the job. A lot of people are like, is he going to get things done? Or, Vandy, tough job. Obviously we know what's Stack didn't exactly crush it over the last few years. But I think he put together a team that, again, doesn't have a superstar, but they're so disciplined, well coached. They defend. They can make shots. I think Edwards has been pretty darn good this year.
What are you laughing at?
I have some breaking news.
Go ahead.
It's some really troubling news in the world of college basketball.
What do we got?
Southern Miss men's basketball coach Jay Ladner said after the post-game loss to Louisiana.
I hope it's not about Curbelo.
Curbelo has been dismissed from the team. Did you know Curbelo was still playing?
Yes.
I had no idea he was still playing.
I've been texting with Jay Ladner about Andre Curbelo because I have a soft spot for Andre Curbelo.
That just blew my mind.
Rob, give me this here as we move, and then we'll move on to the other marquee games. If we look at Oklahoma now, in the SEC, this is a 4-10 team. We know that conference record does not determine, but at the end of the day, they're still 4-10 in their league. And I got some texts. Yeah,
you're going to put them in.
So here's how they finished.
No, I don't want them in.
Here's how they finished. They're home to Kentucky on Wednesday night.
Big game.
They're at Ole Miss. Don't see them winning at Ole Miss. No. They're home to Missouri.
So let's say they split
and
those two
they're
at
at
home.
Texas. And by the way, Texas, they might be out of the field now in our next field.
So you're going to be happy to go 2-2. You're going to be honestly, they're probably going to maybe go 2-2 if they're lucky. And
all right, I'm going to say it then.
That puts them at 6-12.
If a 6-12 Oklahoma team that loses their first SEC tournament game makes the NCAA tournament, that is an abomination.
Yeah,
yes, no, I
happen.
I totally agree with you, and I will say that I don't have any sympathy for SMU and what they're dealing with in the ACC.
Yeah,
but I don't think that you can look at someone like VCU's resume and say that just because they don't have, like, if Oklahoma gets in over VCU, because Oklahoma would end up being at that point, they would be 7-11 in quad one opportunities, right? If they're 7-11 in quad one opportunities and VCU doesn't get in because they're 0-1 because they play in a different conference, because their MTE ended up having 3 teams that weren't as good as the SEC teams, like that should not happen.
But look at SMU, who they scheduled in the non-conference, and some of it was probably done. It's Andy Enfield's first year one. But look at these teams: Tarleton State, Florida A&M, UNC Greensboro. You lose to Butler, Prairie View A&M. You lose at home to Mississippi State, Cal Baptist, Washington State, Alabama State, Virginia, LSU. I mean, come on, it's awful. Awful.
Yeah, SMU. I would prefer them in the tournament because they've won 20 games over in Oklahoma.
I would not prefer them
over.
You know what I prefer? You know what I prefer? We go back to 64. That's what should happen.
Well, that's definitely not happening.
That's what should happen, though.
Let's.
I mean, the expansion crap. Seth Davis, enough. What are you doing? Look at the resumes. Christ's sakes.
You haven't given us an enough 4 in a row in a while. So I wasn't prepared for that. Let's turn to a top 10. That was great.